This is what he's announcing today. He has said that the reciprocal tariff, this is Scott Bessent who announced it, the reciprocal tariff on China, where we jacked ours up to 125 and then they jacked theirs up on us to 125 for all goods, is now going to 10%. Beijing is going to cut its retaliatory levies on U.S. goods to 10% too. So we're both going from 125 to 10%. A separate 20% tariff that Trump imposed for China's role in the fentanyl problem will remain. We're not removing that, and that's good because fentanyl is a scourge on our nation. U.S. said the reductions will last for 90 days while the talks continue. Wall Street Journal pointing out, of course, this tariff rate is still much higher than when Trump took office, where it was 11%. And now, if you do 10% plus the 20, it's at 30. But they're saying overall, if you factor in all those sort of increases for this, that, or the other, it's about 39% right now, according to the Citibank team. So it's higher. We're definitely charging more for Chinese goods to come into this country. But Bessent says the consensus as the U.S. met with China over the weekend was that we will reach a fuller trade agreement that, quote, neither side wants a decoupling. Stocks are surging all over the board now. In response to this, the market's thrilled. And I'll just read you what Charlie Gasparino said, because I trust him. He does not hate Trump at all and has been defending him on most things. He's the business reporter, senior business reporter at Fox. Every major trader / investor I spoke to today said markets are ripping, not because Trump crafted some great new art of the deal with China on trade. Rather, we're back to square one with the country and kicking the tariff war can down the road. That averts stagflation in the short term and maybe longer if we get a deal after 90 days. Yes, markets love trade capitulation. And he went on to say that Trump was really forced to do this. I mean, he went on to say it's like it had to happen. The markets were just too bad. The bond market in particular, there was no way for him to keep this rolling. And that Trump, promised a lot, but the truth is the bond market in particular responded so negatively to this war with China that we had to wave the white flag and China had to wave for the white flag. And there's a lot of white flag waving that, Trump's going to take credit for, but I think the idea is he created the problem and now he's solving the problem. But does he get credit for solving the problem he created? Others are saying, no, something had to be done about this, and getting the world's attention on this trade imbalance and what China's been doing is a win in and of itself. I don't know. Any thoughts on tariffs?
Well, if I don't have any thoughts on tariffs, that means I'm the only person in America who doesn't, because we had more experts grow up overnight on tariffs than almost any other issue in my lifetime.
Yes.
So you were humble enough to say, I don't understand what this has all been about since the beginning. I sort of understand it. My job is to educate myself on these things. And I'll say this. Have you ever negotiated anything? Of course you have, Megyn. You've negotiated salaries, you've negotiated contracts, book contracts. Even I have done that. And at the beginning of negotiations, a lot of things are said that cause people to go, oh no, it's going to break down. This is going to destroy everything. I won't get a book published at all. Oh, I won't get in the movie if I play too tough. But negotiations are the beginning of a game, and a rough game when it involves China and the U.S. and trillions of dollars. That we're doing it at all is a plus. That we're examining this at all, that we're at the table, that we're playing this rather rough, contest, I think is good. Number two, both Trump and China have one thing in common. They like to save face. It's thought to be a perennial feature of certain Asian cultures that saving face is almost more important than actually winning things. And in Trump's case, being able to brag and thump his chest and be Donald Trump is also very important. So you've got two very proud and very vain partners in this negotiation who are finding a way for each other to save face, but they both have real objectives. On Trump's part, he wants to bring back manufacturing to some extent. He wants to reduce this trade deficit, and he wants to kind of bring back especially very vital industries, chip making, various defense technologies, and so on. I think we're closer to getting those things than we were before. And you said both sides are waving the white flag. Well, that's logically impossible. You can't have double surrender.
Can I just say this? Another tweet from Charles said, breaking, economists still trying to figure out what concessions on trade China agreed to. He said, I know this sounds sarcastic, but it's true.
Megyn, it was only years after the Cuban Missile Crisis that we found out that Kennedy made a deal with the Russians to withdraw missiles from Turkey. The Cuban Missile Crisis, for many years, was portrayed as a total American win. We backed down the Soviet Union and they took their missiles out of Cuba. We later found out that we made a huge concession in order to get that. So the thought that we can look behind the curtain and know who's won what and who's getting what and where it's leading at this early date is folly. But I think it's important for both sides that the things that they do concede, they're not embarrassed by.
No, I think that's clear. He goes on to say this. I think that this is a good one from Charlie, and it makes some sense to me. This is from this morning. Breaking, in talking to sources who run small businesses, the pause with China came just as their companies, I think he's talking about American companies, were on the precipice of disaster, since they source so much of their material from China, and the containers coming from China were coming back empty. If you want to know why we were as desperate for a deal as the Chinese, it's because small businesses, a key MAGA constituency, was about to get crushed. So I guess, time will tell whether this was a good idea or a bad idea, but a reset seemed in order because the trade disparities were pretty severe between us and many other countries. And I know we're not supposed to care. It's not supposed to be a thing. But the other thing is, if Trump really wanted to use tariffs to raise money, which was one of the debates, is he just doing this to raise money, or does he actually want to fix trade disparities? I'd like to see the receipts on it, right? Have we? Trump keeps saying that we've earned all sorts of money. We've made all sorts of money on these. I'd love to see the accounting on it.
I've seen some of it, whether it's accurate or not, and it's pretty modest given the voracious needs of the U.S. Treasury, and spending. It's not something that's going to replace the income tax, certainly tomorrow. But at the same time, the principle of raising money off of people who want to trade with us, and just as in the pharmaceutical drug issue, creating a little bit more of a level playing field after years of what Trump contends is being taken advantage of. You can be content with marginal gains if you're moving in the right directions. And also, this negotiation isn't over. It'll probably be going on in some fashion for the first half of his administration.
This July, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, or so they hope to be, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling it the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars could decrease, bringing down the value of those dollars that are in your savings. While this transition, if it happens, will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to 989898. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.